On this week's episode of Keeping It Real, Cam Marston shares the story of two old oak trees that were removed near his office this week and whether or not their removal constitutes progress.
Two giant oak trees along the sidewalk in front of my office were cut down this week by Alabama Power. They must have been 100 years old each. I thought they were live oaks, but I was told later they were some sort of hybrid oak, not a live oak. Regardless, they were big and they were tall and they were stately, and they defined the entrance to where I work. Alabama Power said they needed better access to the power lines that were above and beside the trees, so the trees were cut down. They did it early in the morning. By the time I got to work, they were grinding the stumps. And this has oddly led me to the following question. What is progress? It's obvious that progress is in the mind of the beholder. Alabama Power likely considered removing these beautiful oaks progress. With the trees gone, the trees no longer run the risk of taking down power lines if they fall during a hurricane. That's progress, Alabama Power probably says. More predictable electricity and less risk to our employees who would have to repair and replace the power lines. Progress. Case closed. I think, however, accepting risks and inconveniences for the sake of beauty is, in my opinion, progress. The two oak trees looked great at the edge of the property next to the street. We should accept some risk or sacrifice in exchange for the attractive qualities things like those giant oak trees bring. That's what I call progress. Case closed. Similarly, it's the same reason I keep the back door of my house open on crisp, cool days in the early fall to let some of that fresh, cool air in. After a blistering summer, that cool air feels great, and it represents a coming change of season. But the bugs come in too. However, leaving the doors open to let the cool air inside, even with the bugs, is to me something akin to progress. My wife and kids, by the way, disagree. But back to the trees. I called one of the neighborhood leaders to ask her about the trees. She assured me that of all the options available, removing the trees was the best one, and plans are already in place for new trees that won't endanger the power line. When the trees are mature, they'll be beautiful, she said, if, I said to myself, we all happen to live long enough to see it. Which leads me back to progress being in the mind of the beholder. I wish those big, beautiful oak trees were still there. I noticed them every day I came to the office. I parked under them, and in the blistering days of summer, their shade kept my car just a bit cooler. But they're gone now. It's over. And I have no choice but to get over it and get on with it and get on board with it and all that and embrace whatever's next and all that. But I do miss those trees. And perhaps the greatest progress any of us can make is to learn to come to grips with change. I'm Cam Marston, and I'm just trying to keep it real.
To hear more commentaries, search for Keeping It Real with Cam Marston on your favorite podcast app or follow Cam Marston on social media.